Well, hello, this is Skeleton Key, and I am kicking off week 5 of my fall readathons with some millennial solidarity. We'll see what's in the neighborhood library today. And so I am releasing Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. Well, it wouldn't be a book crossing adventure without a wild animus spotting. So I did pick up a few books on my walk to the neighborhood book box. This one, Silk Princess. These are all like children's or baby books. A friend of mine just had a baby, so I have another book that I'm gonna send her, and I thought I'll see if she's interested in these. I don't know if she's interested in these or not, but this one looked interesting to me. And then this one, yeah, I have no idea if she wants to teach her baby to swim, but if she does, I have a book for her. And then I thought this one looked interesting. The Winged Cat, A Tale of Ancient Egypt. That could be good. And then this one, I probably won't. I mean, I'll offer it to her, but I remember reading this one as a child and not understanding it. And I read something within the last few years by this author, and I was like, well, cute illustrations, but wow, that story is just messed up. So I'm curious to reread this as an adult. A Birthday for Francis. And I got mail. So this is from Weird Works. I think I know what this is. Was it a Kickstarter? It was a Kickstarter. It might have a book in it. Ha. So what do we got? So I've got my black velvet bag. So, ooh, it's bubble wrap. Ah, this is my tarot deck. Adventurer's Tarot deck. The Empress deck. And the guidebook, I think, might have been just a PDF, but I bet you there's a guidebook included in the box. So this is a t-shirt. Yeah, so this is my t-shirt. The Beast. Woohoo! So yes, there is a little booklet. Divine Your Fate, and this deck is designed to be playable as a game. So yeah, Divine Initiative by shuffling the involved combatants, and draw and reveal a new card each turn. So yeah, this is gonna be really cool. I mean, yeah, this is for gamers because there's like a D20 design But, ooh, I haven't taken them out of the wrapping yet. But the top one is the Bard. Ooh, lovely, lovely. So many, many thanks to whoever it was who pointed me at this on Kickstarter. I think that might have been Elliot. Seems like a very Elliot thing. Oh, wow. Yeah, these are amazing. I love this one. The Familiar. Got an owl, a cat, and is it an octopus? Looks like an octopus. Maybe a squid? I don't know. So yeah, this is awesome. I am skipping ahead in a series, which I don't like to do. But I need a book that I can finish quickly that has a mostly black cover. So, Carrie Vaughn's Paranormal Bromance. This is, according to Goodreads, it's 12.5. in the Kitty the Werewolf series. So, and I think I've only read the first two books in that series so far. I really like them. And I think I have all of the others, at least on Kindle. Most of them I think I do have paperbacks of. But anyway, oh, and this is a signed limited edition. One of the nice things about living in Colorado is there are a lot of really awesome authors in the area. And, you know, going to cons and things, you can meet them, but you also get opportunities to buy limited editions and things like that. And so yay. I'm pretty sure I picked this up at probably, well, I don't know which con, probably Mile High Con some year. And yeah, I'm really bummed that I'm not getting to go to any cons this fall, but some of them are online. I think, yeah, Mile High Con. I need to get signed up for Mile High Con. It isn't free like a lot of them are, but looks like they're planning to have quite a bit of content over several days. So I need to check that out and get signed up. More mail. Woo! And this is not specifically book related, but it's kind of book related. So this is part 1 of my order, RBG It's Justice. So yeah, it's even related to my earlier arrival today. So I guess I'm on a tarot theme today. And then I've got another item with the same design. And I'll show you that when it gets here. Hey there, it is October now. And I'm just checking in with a few quick notes. First of all, what I'm doing, this big old Tome Opo. No, I'm not going to read the whole thing this month. I apparently bought this, judging by this bookmark that I'm using. It's a perfume sample from Famous Bar. So this is from when I lived in Missouri. And also, this claims to be the complete tales and poems. It is not, because it does not, like most collections, it does not contain the poem alone. And I apparently printed it out in 2002 and included it in here. Right now I'm feeling kind of stressed, so I won't read it right now. So yeah, so there's Alone. If that website is still up, I will post a link to it. So the F'd Up Book Club is reading a book, I think it's a Penguin edition, and it's The Fall of the House of Usher and other works. So it's short stories and poems, and also some of his criticism. Since I've got this, I didn't really feel like buying a whole nother book. So what I did is I borrowed Teresa's copy and looked at the table of contents. And so I've numbered the items that are in this edition. In the past, apparently, I've gone through and made check marks of the ones I've read already. So that's handy. So all of the tales and all of the poems from that edition are in here. This, of course, does not purport to contain all of his criticism and essays or whatever. So there's only a few of those that are in here, but I'm more focused on the tales and the poems. I'm not even really that worried about rereading the things that I've already read. I mean, some of these I read in like grade school and middle school and for various classes, or like The Black Cat. I have actually seen that performed by a Poe impersonator at, I think, yeah, that was at BoucherCon, I'm wanting to say. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read an item or two a day maybe more if I really get into a groove on a particular day. And I have not finished reading the introduction, so. But I figure if I do that, I'll be well prepared for some discussion at the meeting. In other reading news, I've zipped through a bunch of stuff in the last few days. Well, I don't know about a bunch of stuff, but several things. So I finished out September with The Newts, which, I don't like to advertise it since it's kind of a sore point. I know we're supposed to only discuss it on the Discord channel, but that Discord channel is a bit much for me. It's so much, and I don't have that kind of energy. I made a fairly good showing with my September extension, and I have a blog post that I'll update if you really want details. I figure how many people actually look at my blog, so it's probably not that big a deal that I'm actually talking about it. But one of the prompts was read a comic, and I found out Hoopla has Sarah Anderson's books, which are just these short little books of her comics about being an introvert with anxiety, and yeah. So I read the first one of those, just zipped through that really quickly, and that was, what was that? Adulthood is a Myth. And so that was fun. Today I finally finished up The Black Swan of Paris. I think that's Karen Robards. I should know, I just looked at it on the screen. But it's a World War II resistance story. I mean, it's kind of predictable in that we know how the war ended. So, and I mean, there are a lot of just, your typical, it has some romance in it, and that part's kind of predictable. And normally predictability kind of bothers me. Well, I guess, I don't know about normally. A lot of times it bothers me. But here it was just, and maybe it's just the state of the world right now and everything, but I found it comforting. And the writing was really good, so I was quite pleased with that. It did kind of drag in spots, and it took me a while to get into it. But once I got into it, it really kind of flew. It's a good story. So if you're looking for a resistance tale from World War II, I don't think this was one that was like based on a true story, a specific true story. I mean, the resistance was real, the war was real, and the, D-Day was real. But as far as these characters representing real people with real strategies, and I don't know. I have no idea, but I don't think it was. I could be wrong. If you know that I'm wrong, please correct me. I did not read my 450-page plus book that I was hoping to read. So I didn't finish Night Film still. And it's not officially on my October TBR, so but I'll probably try to sneak it in there somehow. And 50 Shades of Grey. I'm still trying that. Did I tell you that I finished Big Damn Hero? It was part of the Audible Plus collection. So I downloaded that and I listened to that. Near the end it started getting interesting, but for the most part, at least, the first like 2/3 of it, I was like, oh, this is that one show. Oh, no, it's not that. They're just talking about that episode. Or it's just kind of like that episode. And it was full of callbacks and fan service, which is kind of cool. But the story was, it took forever to get to an actual story. And even then, I don't know, it just all felt like the author took all of the plot elements from the TV shows and just kind of jumbled them, put them in a blender and jumbled them up, and then just, poured them out and called it a book. It was just a really strange reading experience. So I probably won't read any more in that series, which is sad. I was really hoping that was going to be awesome. But it wasn't. Oh, I did. I finished The Haunting of Beatrix Green, which I got offered on NetGalley. That was fun. That was fun. It's from Serial Box, which I was not familiar with, but apparently they do serialized stories. And so this was, I think it was about 10 episodes? I should go back and look before I review it. I think it was about 10 episodes, and it's like the first season of this series. I guess it's going to be a series about this spiritualist in Victorian England. Basically, someone calls her bluff, and she has to conduct a seance in a haunted house, and of course there are demons, and everything gets really, really, really super dark. But there's romance, and it's all very melodramatic. The tone of the prose was kind of uneven as far as, whether it sounded realistically Victorian or whether it sounded kind of modern. But it's one of those things where it's a fun ride. It's a ghost story. It's with romance and a haunted house. And if you're wanting that sort of thing, does it really matter if it's literature? I mean, it's not literary at all. It's just fun. So if you want some fun like that, sure, check that one out. I think the release date on that is October 28th. Well, it is the 2nd of October, and I am officially DNFing it. I am on page 67, and I mean, I haven't even gotten to anything even remotely steamy, so it's not that. It's just so freaking boring. And then it's just, I don't care about any of these people. They're not interesting. Okay, so this is, in the back of my mind, my mother's oft recited warning comes to me: never trust a man who can dance. What the fuck does that even mean? Never trust a man who can dance. So, this book is just stupid. I haven't even gotten to anything controversial. It's just, what? This is the most pointless book ever. And friends who have actually recommended it to me, I question your life choices. But they talk about how funny it is, their witty banter, and I'm just like, this is not witty, this is just painful. So yeah, DNF. Now, for my banned book read. Outsiders. I'm going to go with The Outsiders. I really don't know anything about it. Various friends of mine have had very different reactions to it. So I guess I'll just read it and make up my own mind. At least it's short. a lot shorter than this. So here we go, 156 pages, mass market paperback. If I can't get through this, even if I hate this, if I can't get through this by tomorrow, uh, then I'm just pathetic. So this is my backup read that I'm going with. And thank you to my friend Mildred for loaning this to me. Yay. So the book is from 1967, but this is a movie tie-in edition from the early 80s. I think the movie came out in 1982. I have a vague recollection of, I don't know, these scenes look kind of familiar to me. So I think I've seen the movie. However, it was one of those situations where I was sitting next to a guy I was interested in. So I don't actually remember anything about the movie. We'll see if this is a nostalgia trip for me at all. It might be. Even though the book is older than I am, the movie is from when I was between. Hey there, it is Sunday night, and honestly, I've kind of lost track where I am with various reading things. So I'm gonna take kind of a scattershot approach and just kind of toss things out there. Let's see, Shirley, which is the group read for Victober. So I've borrowed the Georgina Sutton narration from Hoopla. And you know how I said that I wasn't at all familiar with Shirley? Well, apparently I was at some point familiar enough with it to download it as a Kindle book. So I do have that. So in case I want to go look at something to see how it's spelled or something like that, or if I don't finish it before this has to, because yeah, it'll expire before this borrow will expire before the end of the month, and we're back to 10 borrows a month on Hoopla. But then I'll be able to go over to the Kindle version if I need to. So I do have that. And also Charlotte Bronte wrote Jane Eyre, so I have read Jane Eyre. I didn't read it until I was in my 30s, and I liked it. It's kind of a weird one. It's more than a little problematic to a modern reader from a modern perspective, but and it's very tropey. The thing is, it probably created some of those tropes that you see in romance fiction today. So, you know, and it was fun. If you just take it for what it is, it's a great read. Um, yeah, sure, I rolled my eyes a lot, but I still liked it. Also for Victober, I read Study in Scarlet by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I listened to that on, and it was another Hoopla borrow. And Peter Mesny, I think Peter somebody was the narrator. Does this say? No, it doesn't. I read that for Kate's challenge. And what was that? That was read a new to you book and or short story by a favorite Victorian author. And granted, Doyle was he was an odd duck, but I'm not sure how I feel about him as a person, but I love the Holmes stories. So yeah, he's a favorite. I can triple up on that one and count it for Katie's challenge, which is read a Victorian book that equates to your favorite modern genre, which is mystery. And I can also use it for the reader's challenge, read a Victorian book from a previous Victober TBR that you never got to, or one you've been meaning to read for ages. And so I'm still going to keep A Tale of Two Cities on my TBR for that one, and also The Woman in White for Katie's challenge. But if I need to, I can triple up easily. I did look up when I did first try to read A Study in Scarlet, and it was about 10 years ago. So, and that was, I was reading it in my Baring Gould. And, so my guess, I have moved since then. So my guess is that my Baring Gould is in a box in the garage. I need to do a serious reorganization, and yes, a culling. I do have a lot of books that I need to book cross, so and that should make some room. I have not started on The Woman in White this go around, and I did start A Tale of Two Cities earlier this year. Like in January, and occasionally I'll open it up and listen to it for a bit, but yeah, at this point I probably ought to just start over, because I was not retaining anything from that. Because Dickens. For the Literally Dead book club that Kayla over at Books and Lala runs, and there's a Goodreads group for that as well. This month is One by One by Ruth Ware, and I did get the CD copy of the audiobook from the library, so I've got that. I can get started on that. Did I tell you my thoughts on the September book? And that was Catherine House. Yeah, I still don't know quite how I feel about that one, but generally I'm gonna give it a 3-star review, I think. The ending really didn't sit well with me. It was kind of a cop-out ending, I felt. I don't know. For my banned book read, Banned Books Week ended yesterday. I did not finish The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. However, I do intend to still finish it, because I mean it's super short. It's not really challenging. I don't think I'll have any problem finishing it. Like I think I mentioned before, it's not really grabbing me, but you know, I might as well finish it. It's interesting enough. It's just, I don't know, not blowing me away. But yeah, sure, I'll finish it. However, I reread The Cask of Amontillado by Edgar Allan Poe, and I didn't realize that it had been banned until I posted it for, I posted on Twitter that I had finished it, or that I was reading it or had finished it. And then apparently there is a bot on Twitter that exists solely to retweet mentions of The Cask of Amontillado. That's all it does. Yeah, sure. Okay, fine. So I clicked through on the bot just to see what it was. And there was a discussion in one of the threads about the story, mentioning that it was a banned book. I'm like, oh, okay. So there, poof, my banned book read is done. So I think I did that on Friday. So yay, that's taken care of. And Cask of Amontillado is probably my favorite Poe story. It's deliciously ambiguous, and yet so full of meaning. And granted, I haven't read all of Poe's stories yet, so. But yeah, I'm going through the Poe book. Did I read anything today? Ooh, I should get on that because I don't think I've read any Poe yet today. I'm trying to read at least one Poe thing a day. And I have started on a memory called Empire for the Strange Worlds book club. It's kind of long and doesn't move that quickly, but I think I'm really gonna like it. So I really hope I get it finished in time for the book discussion on Thursday. So yeah, we've moved to Zoom for now, and it's really kind of cool because we're able to have people who've moved away from the area and hadn't been able to attend book club in person, but now that we're on Zoom, we get to see them again. So that's really cool. It's the Aztec Empire in space. But yeah, so it's a murder mystery, I guess, in space or on another planet. I haven't really got to that part yet, but so it's a little slow to start, but I don't know if it picks up or if it kind of keeps at the same pace, but it's even when it's slow, it's really interesting. So I'm really enjoying it. So I am finally getting around to registering the books that I picked up in the neighborhood library box the other day. So they aren't book crossing books yet. None of these had any book crossing labels in them. So I am registering them and labeling them. And these, I have some of these little labels like this. These are awesome. Especially if you don't have a nice label with a picture that goes well with the book that you're registering. These are great. So I'm going to get these registered under the account, the bookcrossing.com account for the library, the little neighborhood library box. It has its own account, and then they'll be registered under that name because that's where they came from. So this one, well, all of these. So this is the page where I enter the information. Well, I've pulled up the information for this book, and so on these, I'm adding a note. I'm marking them all as traveling, and then I'm adding a note. This book was added to the neighborhood library box and was then later retrieved by another resident. And then I will hit the register book button, and it will give me the BCID number to put on the label. It's Monday night, so I need to wrap up for the week. So, today's Poe selection. So, I read along in this while I was listening to an audiobook on Hoopla of William Wilson, which I'd never read before. It's a short story. The audiobook that I got was narrated by Larry G. Jones. I am going to avoid this narrator in the future. He kept mangling words, English, French, Latin, whatever. He just kept mangling everything. Like parterre, he pronounced it, and I can see, like, you know, differences in accents and things like that, but he pronounced it Paratree. That is not acceptable. I don't know how you would get Paratree from parterre. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But one thing, reading this, it occurs to me that I could make it count for, I mean, I don't need to, but I could make it count for the Victorian, the Victober challenge, because, okay, so yeah, Poe is very American. He was born in America, he died in America, lived most of his life in America, but he did live and go to school in England, and I think Scotland too. for a few years when he was younger. Granted, it was, I think, more in the Regency period. I'm pretty sure it was before the Victorian era. But this story was published in the Victorian era, and it's set in his childhood home outside of, the boarding school he went to outside of London. So it could kind of count as Victorian literature, sort of. So that's something, if you're looking for something short, William Wilson. Anyway, the story itself is actually really interesting. And I don't want to say too much. I was going to compare it to some of Chuck Palahniuk's work. That's maybe a bit of a spoiler, I don't know. But yeah, it's a really neat story, and it's very, very gothic, and yeah, I liked that one. I still think Cask of Amontillado is my favorite. Oh, and I also found a recording of Alone. If I can find it again, I'll link to it in the description. I think that's pretty much it for now. So I will just wrap up for the week. So I guess we'll see you tomorrow for week 6. And in the meantime, if you're so inclined, please like and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And I'll see you around.